Port Erin's an interesting one. It's one I'm familiar with. I grew up in Port Erin and my family have ran a tourism business there going back right back to my grandfather and my great-grandfather. So I am quite familiar with it. And actually, the funny thing about Port Erin is it's actually been built around tourism. So tourism is what has made its community in the past. And in recent years, we've seen that decline. And it's been quite sad to see at times just how sort of quiet the promenade has been and how the number of empty apartments that you can quite easily see if you go down to the beach and you look back on a dark sort of winter's night, how everything's in darkness. There's no one really living there, and that's not tourist accommodation. That's people who've bought second homes or just property and they're not using it for anything. And I think that's where the biggest concern lies. If we can actually get some of that stock back and get people and visitors staying, we will see that increase in tourism, which is actually quite valuable for the community in Port Erin. We are perhaps beginning to see the return to the days of tourism from many years ago, but just in a different way. And our visitors are spending a lot in that local economy. And actually, we're a community business. We're supporting the community. We're very much part of the community. So I think tourism shouldn't be seen as a threat because it is part of the community and it creates jobs for people. It creates support for local businesses. And the issue needs to be on tackling the number of empty properties in Port Erin and deciding whether they should be rental accommodation for visitors or for residents, really, and sort of targeting them. A number of the properties that come on board with us are properties that perhaps wouldn't be used for anything else. They would just be sat there empty, or they would be just an annex to someone's home where it's not going to be let out. We're seeing more and more visitors staying in this type of accommodation. So if we don't provide it, the Isle of Man is not going to be seen as a destination where people want to come on holiday. And I think as well, I've already reached out to the commissioners about this, and I'd like to kind of reach out to them again and sort of say, happy to kind of help look at ways in which perhaps we can work together to look at the empty and vacant properties and seeing, how we can try and get those back utilised, whether that is for residential accommodation or visitor accommodation. Not every property is suitable for visitor accommodation. We quite often go out and see properties and turn them down and say, this isn't really going to work. You're better off putting this on a residential let. So it's not like we're just taking every property that we get. It's a case of looking at what's out there, what's appropriate for visitors, what they want, and how we can actually sort of move things forward. So yeah, very happy to kind of engage with any local commissioners really on this to sort of see how opportunities can be maximised for the villagers.